Beloveds, it has been quite a week in this nation's history, and so I'm called to begin this service speaking to you about the events of this week. The killing of black man George Floyd, on the heels of other highly reported accounts of police killings and outright racism, and the protests that are reminding us of the persistence of these acts and the righteous anger. In the midst of this violence and pain, there is another truth. We are all connected, and what happens to one affects us all, both individually and collectively. I'm finding that it's taking more and more energy to repress that inner wisdom of our interconnection. The energy to repress that is born out of fear, and it is energy that with courage could be used to heal and bind wounds, and to make amends for generations of oppression. How much closer must it get, I'm asking myself, as if geography matters more than black and brown lives. How much closer must it get before we realize that it is about us? Before we risk to take to the streets ourselves, peacefully, or lift our voices righteously, and trust and follow black and brown leaders, even those without prestigious degrees. Now, when I wrote this, I realized I was speaking mostly to myself to engender my own passion, and also to other white members among us. To the people of color, I rededicate myself to seeing your pain and suffering, as well as your resilience. I rededicate myself to acknowledging the generational trauma rooted in slavery, the doctrine of discovery, colonialism, internment camp, and ongoing white supremacy culture. I rededicate myself to justice, to using my voice, my privilege, my arms, and my legs to right the wrongs and to speak truth to power, and to dismantle systemic racism and oppressions from within our congregation and throughout the world. No one person, no one race, no one ethnicity can ever deserve the kind of disregard millions of people in this nation have been subjected to for centuries. It is past time for us to use our collective power to create a world that is truly worthy of our first principle, that honors the inherent worth and dignity of all persons. Beloveds, please do not be silent. Write, speak, learn, show up, vote, but do not be silent. I don't know what it will look like yet, but I am willing to take risks and to make mistakes so that I can make a difference. Black lives, brown lives, our lives depend on it. So I'm inviting you into a conversation with me today after the service. You can leave this Zoom room so others can have coffee hour and join me in my Zoom room, and the link is in the chat. Let's talk about how all this is landing with you and how you might want to engage with it. And in the midst of all this national pain and fear, I also remember another reason why we gather. One antidote to fear is to ask, what beauty am I making? Let's take a brief moment of silence together, and then turn to beauty and the music of our vocal ensemble One Voice to kick off this Music Sunday. Blessed be.
This is the sound of one voice.
the sound of voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind, it'll turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of one voice. One people, one voice. A song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
Good morning. Fun to say morning again. And welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship's Zoom Music Sunday. I am Karen Griglak, your service leader of the day for this beautiful congregation. Today I play but a small part, while Eric Williams, our service associate for the day, brings you his beautiful poetry. Reverend Lydia is with us. We have music from One Voice, the Fellowship Choir, the band, Tad Koriath, Emily Jaworski, and that doesn't even begin to touch on those who have worked behind the scenes to put today together. Without the following people working their magic and doing the complicated things, we couldn't do this. So I give you our tech ushers, Bill Beachley, Dave Leonard, Herb Axe, and Deborah Mensch. But the most important people to mention are all of you, this fellowship, and all of the wonderful people that you are, for you are the reason that we do any of this. As I say our welcome words today, I want to invite you to shift into gallery mode if you haven't done so already, and scroll through the screen so that you can experience the lovely diversity of this congregation. You are all welcome here today, in all of the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes, and sizes that come together in your uniqueness. You are welcome here. In all of the ways that you experience and express gender, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here. In all of the ways you make your living and the places you are from, you are welcome here. Christian, humanist, Jew, pagan, Buddhic, mystic, Muslim, Unitarian Universalist, With all of the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you are welcome here today. Whether you are a first-time visitor or a long-time member, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today. I have a few announcements this morning. We are still taking applications for service associates for the coming year, as we have quite a few folks who are rotating off. Being a service associate is a beautiful way to bring your gifts to the congregation, sharing both your stories and your insights. Our service associates are a tight-knit group, providing one another with support, encouragement, and ideas as we co-create Sunday services. In the chat and in the Connections Weekly, there is a link for a brief application, mostly so we can better get to know you and to better explain what the job entails. Do not worry, do not be afraid. We will train you, and we will always support you. You are never in this alone. So please see the links or email me, Brigida, or Reverend Lydia, and we are happy to answer any questions or Zoom with you if we need to. But most of all, we really look forward to hearing from you today, if at all possible. Our annual meeting is also coming up next Saturday morning, June 6th, from 10 to 12 p.m., 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. This year, it's on Zoom, of course, and we'll get to use an online voting app. Now, we do need a quorum, so please do plan to attend. It will be fun, not just business. And Eric Williams would like to welcome our newcomers today.
If you're new here, we are glad you found us and hope that this virtual community, you can experience the warmth and love of this congregation. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to really get to know us. If you are new to us and want to stay connected, please see the chat window for the link to our first time visitors page, or email your information to our office manager, Carol, at officemanager@bvuuf.org. Her email address will be in the chat window as well. And do be sure to check out our fellowship calendar and Connections Weekly for all the opportunities we have to stay connected. If this is one of your first visits and you would like to briefly introduce yourself, I invite you to use the raise hand control in the participants window to show us you would like to speak. Deborah Mensch, one of our tech ushers, will call on you and she will unmute your microphone. Please tell us your name and the town where you live so we might better get to know you. This self-introduction is completely optional, but we'd love to hear from you now.
Eric, it looks like no one has raised their hand this time.
Then we'll go back to Karen for our, or Reverend Lydia for our chalice lighting.
If you have a chalice at home, you can light yours with me, while Reverend Lydia lights our fellowship chalice. So we know where all our chalices are. Please write in the chat, chalice lit in the name of your town. Please say the words along with me as I light our chalice. I'll go slowly so that you can follow along. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. I now invite Reverend Lydia to ring the bowl and for you to center yourselves again into this virtually gathered community.
I had the honor of composing today's opening words. First, there was the earth's music, soft notes of water flowing in a nascent stream, the hard crash of waves on an empty beach, wind sweeping across a vast savanna, and insects' rhythmic buzz, songbirds singing at first light, the piercing call of a raptor circling high in a clean blue sky. Humans heard and they answered with their voices, with their hands, with bone pipes and gut strings, with skin drums and didgeridoo. Each clan compelled in their own way to add to the music they found in their lives. So we have lived since the earliest days, with music to bring us together, to open our hearts, to honor the sacred. Music to bring us out of our distracted minds and into the richness of the present moment. Music as a vessel to express our joy, our sorrow, our wonder, our worship. Our lives are made deeper by the music we create. So praise the composer, the songwriter, the singer, the musician, for they bring us closer to the beating heart of this wondrous life. They do the high work of creating human connections. With graceful note and poignant phrase, they open us one to another and each to the divine. So stroke the strings and strike the drums. Touch the keys and lift your voices. Let us embark on this sacred journey. This morning, let our music carry us into the numinous, gorgeous, expansive now. Let us all join together at home in singing the hymn, "Come Sing a Song with Me."
Come sing a song with me.
Generosity is a spiritual practice of this congregation. When we offer our time, talents, and treasures, we deepen our engagement and become part of building the beloved community together. Usually, half of our offering goes to a nonprofit organization whose mission is aligned with ours, and in an effort to spread the warmth and compassion we strive to cultivate here at the Fellowship. Today's half plate goes to the Wild Animal Sanctuary. The mission of Wild Animal Sanctuary is to travel across America and into foreign countries around the world to rescue animals that are suffering. Each rescued animal is rehabilitated and released into large natural habitats with others of their kind. The remarkable recoveries lead to a life filled with friendship, love, freedom, and joy. Please do give as generously as you are able. For the work of the Fellowship and the work of the Wild Animal Sanctuary, we dedicate these offerings.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Thanks to the hard work of Tad and Cameron Weiss and members of the Fellowship Choir, we bring you one of our congregation's favorite songs, in virtual form. This is People of Hope. which we can all use a little bit of right now.
It's hard to believe in the sun in the dark of the night. And it's hard to believe in the stars in the bright morning light. Well, we all need a place we can go to learn what is real.
To ponder the depths of the soul where truth is revealed.
Oh, let it be you. Let it be me. Here in love's dwelling, we learn to believe in this
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tad Corrieth, the Director of Music. Happy to be with you on this very musical Sunday. So thankful to all the people that have helped create the music for today. Especially Cameron Wise for proposing and bringing to fruition the People of Hope project. Without his vision and many hours of hard work compiling and editing the video, it wouldn't have happened. I also want to acknowledge One Voice and Deborah Mensch and Laura Patterson, who edited the audio and video for the beautiful song that began our service. Finally, thank you to members of the band, especially Tracy Bush for his audio editing and mixing expertise. You'll get to hear the fruits of his efforts, of our efforts, on our closing song. And a special thank you to Emily Jaworski too for saving my butt week after week with her willingness to record hymns and songs for us on super short notice without too much complaining. Thank you, Emily. So since we began singing People of Hope a few years ago, it's become a favorite of our choir and congregation. So in some respects, it was an obvious choice for a virtual choir treatment. However, the irony of singing about this mortar and stone, these windows and walls in a virtual Zoom service is not lost on me. We're singing the praises of our building, of our physical sacred space, when we are, for the time being at least, still without that physical home. At least we can't yet safely use it. There are ever-changing protocols and guidelines for how to safely navigate in this era of COVID-19. I know it can be exhausting trying to keep up with all of them. One particular guideline that especially affects me and my communities and my work is that concerning singing together. And that guideline is, don't do it. If you already aren't aware, singing, especially singing in a close quartered choir or congregation, due to the increased rate of respiration and release of airborne droplets or aerosols, is one of the most dangerous activities you can engage in. So, yay, happy Music Sunday. So rightfully so, there are a lot of crestfallen choir directors, voice teachers, singers, and instrumentalists who for the foreseeable future won't be gathering together to do the thing that they love most to do, make music with other people. But also, there's been a gush of creative energy from arts organizations and leaders around how to stay connected, musical, and meaningful during these muted times. Kelly Walsh of Chorus America, one of the foremost US choral organizations, expresses that plucky spirit best. If choir is only about singing and performing, there will be no choir for a while. If choir is about teaching and learning, growing, connecting, cultural exploration and transmission, and innovating, we will find a way to have choir. And that's just what we're doing here. We're finding ways to have choir. We're finding ways to have music in our service and in our lives. The ways that we do and the forms through which we make music have changed, but we're still filling those forms with energy and heart. We're making virtual choir videos. We're learning audio and video editing. We're taking music classes and lessons online. We're doing more composing and arranging. Maybe in some sense, we are also simply abiding in a fallow period, harnessing energy and motivation for when we're able to make music together again in person. All these things are valuable. There's a song I heard the other week that gets right to the heart of what I think I'm trying to say. Maybe some of you know it. It was written in 1939. It was recorded most famously by Ella Fitzgerald. It's called Tain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. I'm not going to sing it, but the lyrics, when I was a kid about 3:30, my ma said, daughter, come here to me. Says things may come and things may go, but this is one thing you ought to know. It tain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. Tain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. That's what gets results. So thinking back again about our new building, our new sanctuary lying dormant, going unused, while disappointment and frustration that we're not there yet, and anxiety over when we'll finally be able to gather again are understandable, I think that we still have, right here in Zoom, a sacred space of our own. A quote from a recent article I read by a Zen Buddhist monk talking about what makes a space sacred. Sacred space is relational and dynamic. It constantly interacts with itself, its own history, with those who occupy it, and with every other space around it. A sacred space does not become sacred inherently or abstractly. We consider a shrine sacred in the way that a garbage dump is not, because over time, both our actions and our understanding of what is sacred have shaped our experience in each of those spaces. This is an act of co-creation, which means that all of the elements in a sacred space, its design, its location, the objects it contains, as well as every action and every gesture that happens within it, both singularly and cumulatively, help to shape that experience of the sacred, which in turn affects our actions further. So in this process of creation, we are both creators and created. Every action and every gesture, and I would add the intention behind them, help to shape the experience of the sacred. So to paraphrase Ella a little bit, it ain't where you church, it's the way that you church it. Friends, though it's not of mortar and stone, we have our sacred home right here in the hollowed windows and walls of Zoom. At least I experience it that way. The care and patience with which our tech ushers have helped us get comfortable in this new virtual environment is beautiful. It is sacred. The way we continue to share our joys and concerns with each other and offer support, encouragement, and rejoicing, maybe more than ever before, is beautiful and sacred. The glimpses we afford each other into our homes is oddly intimate. I would say maybe sacred. It's somehow comforting and special to see everybody in their natural environments. The intimacy with which Zoom allows us to look at each other feels special to me. We can look at each other's faces, into each other's eyes more deeply, and for way longer than what's socially acceptable in real life. I don't know, maybe it's just me that does that. I hope it's not creepy, but it kind of feels a little bit like we're just people watching on each other all the time. So all these things that we do with and for each other here each week, the preparation that goes into creating meaningful experiences for each other in ways that are new, the effort and learning involved in getting ourselves and each other up to speed in this new virtual world, these are sacred acts. We are a people of hope. We are a people of love, of kindness, of effort, of care. We're a people that mean well for each other. When I show up on Sunday morning, I'm aware of all these things. And more importantly, when the first bell rings at the beginning of the service, I experience that sacredness. As Eric so beautifully wrote in his opening poem, music is a vessel to express our joy, our wonder, our sorrow, our worship. The shapes that vessel takes have changed for now. And there's no denying that when we are able to be and sing together again, the reunion will be glorious. But for now, we're still using our music and our sacred space to express, to connect, to rejoice, to mourn, to wonder, to worship, and to inspire. Thank you.
So we have reached a point in our service where we want you to participate in the service as well. Don't worry, we're not going to have you sing and unmute you. But we are going to start by singing together at home the hymn Voice Still and Small. After we sing, Tad will segue into a musical meditation. Take a minute to really sit with the music and to contemplate it. How does it make you feel? What thoughts come to mind? What images? And try to distill it down to 3 separate words. And when you are ready, follow the instructions that will be at the top of your screen while Tad's piano meditation plays, and also in the chat window. And if you have any problems using menti.com, feel free to enter your words into the chat window and I will put them into the word cloud for you. And the goal is we're going to make one big cloud of words to represent how this music affects all of us. So once you put in your words, come back to the Zoom meeting and watch as that cloud just grows and grows with all of our own thoughts and creativity. And now, Voice Still and Small.
Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In dark and rain, sorrow and pain, still you remain singing, calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In dark and rain, sorrow and pain,
This is the time in our service where we share our joys and concerns. I was so taken by all those words. It took me a moment to become fully present to this time. But it's a time we have every week, as Tad said, to really bring the sacred, the connection between one another, even through Zoom, to one another. So if you have a joy or a concern that you'd like to share, Deborah will show you how to do that, or tell you how to do that, and I will put some stones in our sacred water. And I will today place one last stone into our waters for all those joys and concerns that remain in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, knowing that even in our silence we are bound together in the web of life. For a pastoral prayer, I share with you an excerpt from Steve Garnes Holmes' poem called On the Path to Compassion. Today is the first Sunday of the month of compassion here at the Fellowship. Begin with gratitude, he writes, for all that you have received, that you see and that you do not see. Let your gratitude grow into trust, that you are included in a great wonder, and entrust yourself to the grace you are given. Let your trust blossom into compassion for all those who are also part of this oneness, who have been excluded used, or targeted. Let your compassion flourish into solidarity, knowing you are one with those who suffer and that their wholeness is a part of yours. Let your solidarity bear fruit in justice, working for freedom and the fullness of life for all, against all evil and oppression. And when you are most challenged, by the forces of injustice, most weary and discouraged, return to gratitude. May this be our promise and our prayer.
So now that we are nearing the end of our music service, we want to thank all of you for joining us this morning for our most unconventional music service ever. We are glad that you are here. Please join me in extinguishing all of our chalices. I'll go slowly so you can repeat the words after me. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Steve Maraboli says the following: live your truth, express your love, share your enthusiasm, take action towards your dreams, walk your talk, dance and sing to your music, embrace your blessings, and make today worth remembering.